pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Gary?
God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together and do business in the county. Pray you give us good guidance and wisdom as we make decisions in the county. That's because we look over the county workers, protect them as they go about their work. Pray you for this county. Pray in Jesus' name.
Stop here.
Good deal.
Well, good morning, everyone. I've reviewed last week's minutes. Make a motion that we approve them.
Second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. David?
Yeah, I've got, actually, oh, there's some minutes. Couple of claims runs to sign off on.
There's claims total for $14,409.41, and the other one is $318,935.17. I'll make a motion that we accept those claims and pay them.
I'll second it.
Moved and second. We pay the claims in those amounts.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Got the park reports.
Receipts for November, $19,762.74. Expenditures for November, $19,466.65. And then we'll go receipts year to date, $273,874.47. And expenditures to date, $249,460.48. That was the park report.
And then I did not get copies printed out yet, but I got the email from Kevin this morning on the numbers. He's got 24 total prisoners, 19 in-house and 5 farmed out.
Okay. What else?
I've got a question from last week on claims. We approved them, but there was a $7,500 bill to Debrick Truck Line from the Sheriff's Department. And the shipper address was Marine Corps Logistic Base in Albany, Georgia. And it was 949 miles. That rate charge, that's $7.90 a mile.
So-
I'm checking yesterday, and which I know what you can, $4.50 lets you truck cattle anywhere you want to truck cattle. And hazmat endorsements are in the fives. And I'd like an answer on why we paid $7.90 and we trucked.
Well, I can tell you our purchasing contracting order doesn't cover that because I just talked to Gary about, we need to add that into section 3 of that, if we can legally add that in so we can, so individual sections will have to abide by our policy. But right now we don't have one. And you know, and I know as well, that was an MRAP vehicle that was purchased. It wasn't purchased, it was given and signed for by the Marine Corps. And if the public hasn't seen what a MRAP is, you don't have to Google it. We'll just put it up there. Maybe. There it goes. I didn't turn it off. I think I just did.
Well, I realize there could be some permits involved in this as far as width and height. I don't know exactly what we had as far as it is, but that's the trucking firms I talked to, they said they'd be more than happy to do that at that price.
Yeah.
That's $7.90 per mile.
Oh, it should come up. There it is. That's what an MRAP is. It's used by the military. It came about like 2003 or 2004. I believe that's the Cougar version of what an MRAP looks like. It's a smaller one. They weigh from 14 to 18 tons. They haul personnel around, and they're marine resistant anti-personnel.
Well, it was even
Vehicles.
stated on the claim that it's for sheriff's inmate transportation.
Yeah.
That's what we charged it to.
Like to see the sheriff come in and maybe address why the county is going to need one of these. I mean, it's military, so I don't know that we have any IEDs exploding on 69 or 7 or 169 that we would need one for. But and certainly a vehicle like that, getting insurance on it will be very, very costly.
What does the tires cost for it?
And I think the tires, just listen to them in Iraq. They're probably about $2,500 a piece for tires for them, because they're not just regular tires. They're not 10 ply or 12 ply. They have a significant amount of stuff that goes to them. But just the maintenance, and doesn't look like the Oshkosh version, but just to work on one of those things. I mean, who's going to work on it?
Who is, yeah.
I mean, who's going to work on them? Who's going to insure them? How much is that going to cost? We insured a Humvee years and years ago before I even got here. I think we got rid of it right as I was getting here. Do you remember what the insurance was on a Humvee?
I do not. I
I mean,
looking back at the old.
What needs do we have in Linn County for?
I don't know what you'd ever possibly, what would you use it for? I can tell you it. Most of them can sustain a 7.62 millimeter round, and some bigger versions can do a 50 cal round for a while. But I don't know the purpose of it. We'd have to talk to the sheriff. So I'd hope the sheriff would come in and address that issue. It sounds like it's going to be a very costly piece of equipment.
Well, I realize that, maybe that we cannot, I guess what I'm trying to say is we cannot tell him how to spend his money, but when I'm going to have to answer for this, and I've signed off on it, I'd like to talk about it before I get it.
So Gary, is there any advice on something? We purchased something like that. We didn't purchase it, he was signed for it. He was granted it. But just for like Doug, Doug and Melissa got beat up over $4,900 contracts. we got a $7,500 shipping bill, and of course the vehicle didn't cost anything, but it does cost when you add it up. It's going to cost for maintenance. It's going to cost for anyone that's going to work on it that is not going to know the vehicle at all.
You say we beat him up. Rick.
Well, we question.
But I'm just saying, as we're all answering to the taxpayers in Linn County. I mean, that's basically who we have to answer to, and we need.
But we went over and over and over, and there was no answer for this at all. There was no question. So, I just, you got anything?
Courts are pretty clear that elected officials can basically spend their budget as they deem necessary to fulfill the function of their job.
But to me, it appears that we should at least come to tell the people of Linn County what we're doing.
And that's where the accountability lies, is with the voting public.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so I think it makes sense to raise such questions.
Yeah, if he's listening, or if he's at any of the sheriff's department, if Sheriff Friend would come over and explain why. And
how is it with the cars? I realize I think we've got 2 new ones coming, because I see 2 old ones sitting down, or we already got them. I suppose there's 2 sitting at the county barn, older cars. What's our policy on the cars purchasing through the sheriff's department?
Well, as long as he purchases them through the
government,
that
GSA
state list, through that list, he doesn't have to do anything special in terms of taking bids. If he needs a car, I mean, if he argues that he needs a car in order to fulfill the function of the job, then the commissioners don't have any say to say, no, you can't buy a car now.
But what about if he's not buying it through the contract?
if he's not binding to the contract, then he has to comply
Come here.
with this policy.
That's right, and follow the policy.
Right.
And so if we had this, what I was asking you, in the future for shipping, anybody that wants to ship something, say Doug wants a fire truck and he's getting it from Michigan, it's free, and and we're gonna ship it here, then we should go ahead and get bids on it. That's what I'd like to see.
Right. I understand what you're saying, that shipping is a service, just like any other service that we might be contracting.
Right.
And we do have requirements for a bidding process on certain services.
Right.
So that could be included in that group.
Just like it's courtesy to the taxpayers, if we put 2 new cars in service, you know, I mean, if Doug gets a new fire truck, we bring it and tell the people, as a courtesy to the people of Linn County, they should know that we bought 2 new cars, I think.
Right. So anyway, it wasn't the commissioners that brought your MRAP to you, but if you ever see an IED on the road in Linn County, we have a vehicle that will sustain the blast. So, all right. All right, Doug, come on up, enlighten us on something.
Good morning, Commissioners. Fire calls for the week. Year to date, we're at 417. This past week, we had 1 EMS assist, 1 landing zone, 4 grass fires, motor vehicle accident, a structure fire, and 2 fire alarms for a total of 10 calls for the week. The other thing I left on your table is an application for Rodney Nicholson for Station 910 here in Mound City. We would like to hire him as a probationary firefighter pending his completion of physical and drug screen. And Mound City currently has 6 firefighters.
Good nominee
Yeah, I'll make a motion we hire him as fireman.
with the probationary period and all that. I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I would like a 5-minute executive session for personnel when you have time. And that's all I have this morning unless you have something for me.
Nope.
Thank you.
What's- You said personnel, right? Go ahead.
I do not have much to report this week. COVID,
Gotta say your name.
Missy Lancaster.
Thank you.
COVID is on the rise. We're averaging about 10 positive cases a day. Vaccinated 76 last Wednesday. Boosters, all boosters. So
Any influenza or problems, outbreaks or anything?
he had 1 positive influenza last week. Thought she had COVID, but she had flu A.
Do we keep track as far as the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated, since we're this far into it, how many people?
Well, we don't, you mean, do we write them down?
No, as far as the people that's getting COVID now, how many of them is vaccinated versus unvaccinated?
Yes, we asked them that on our screening
What
forms.
kind of percentage is it? Do you know?
It doesn't have a pattern.
Yeah.
Some people, I tested 4 in a car last week, and all of them had been vaccinated, and 3 were positive and 1 was negative. Why? I don't know. We're going to test again today, same person, to see if they become positive.
I'd like to keep track of that.
And they're not sick.
Just to see, none of them sick?
No,
Why'd they come to you then?
because they'd been exposed.
Oh.
So you can't give COVID a definite answer because everything
I'd
is.
like to keep track of that if we could, just to see, you know,
What's that?
as far as the test, as what we're testing, as far as how many I'm showing positive and negative. versus-
Well, we can, the ones that we test, but
Right, that's what
if they're
I'm saying.
tested someplace else, we aren't going to know.
Yeah, I didn't know if you understood what he was asking. That
Mm-hmm.
of those that we test that are positive, how many of them were vaccinated?
Right.
I'd I'd
Yeah.
like to see-
And we ask, like I said, we ask them that on the screening form because there's certain tests that we send to the state. So, but we're still getting the Delta. We haven't got any others. Still getting the Delta.
No new virus?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Nope. So, and then I need 15 minutes in executive for personnel.
Did you get a chance to look at what the hospital or the health department board that we talked about?
I did, and I talked to Gary about it, and I said, I think it's great. Go ahead.
I'd like to see us move on with that myself and
Yep.
get it set up if we could.
The last time we talked, you were gonna see if you wanted to add anything or,
No.
tweak anything in the duties.
Oh, yes, yeah. I'll try to look at that today. We've been inundated with
I
COVID.
I understand.
We can go ahead and get the request. We can start looking for people though.
Sure.
And I would ask, even though you're sorry about that, even though you are new to the area, that you reach out and ask individuals too. We put the criteria together. We haven't put it on paper yet, have we?
It was 3 healthcare providers, 3 non-healthcare providers, and 1
Per
could
district.
be either.
On at large.
One per district.
One district.
One healthcare provider in each district
Right,
that does not work for the health department.
Right.
right.
One non-healthcare provider in each district, and then one person in either category at large
Right.
in the county, making a board of 7.
Okay. So let's start looking for those individuals.
Okay, that's all.
All right. We'll try to get some cranky ones.
Thanks.
Mean, hateful.
Thanks.
Thanks. AMR? No, hey, hang on, AMR. Warren, come on up.
Yeah, I got sidetracked, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Looked at my watch. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Update. I hadn't been in here in a while. Starting site concrete today, curb and gutter. Pretty much on, we're gonna try to knock out, all the curb and gutter on the west side of the site, up Spruce Street, and on the, east side of the Sally Port. And the west side, all the way to the west side of the Sally Port. And possibly do some curb and gutter on, this east end, but I doubt it. Interiors are going well. Missing a painter right now. We owe him a little bit of heat. We got heat running out there. We got some heaters for some specific areas we want him to work in. The IT server room is a priority for us. Rough-ins are, like I said, they're going well. Sheetrock's going well. We're taking another delivery of sheetrock right now. It's a lot going on. So everything's
But
under.
we got all of our windows and doors.
Windows, I notice all windows, we got a lot of temp doors up. We're not going to really start swinging any doors till down the road. Those things get beat up pretty bad. So we got temp plywood doors everywhere. Looks like they got all window or glass in last week with the exception of this front storefront. And that's going in right now. That's almost done. So we are pretty much enclosed. We got 2 heaters that one of them's running, another one shut down due to a drywall delivery. But it's a lot going on. So we feel pretty good right now with where things are at.
Material still on schedule for everything you know of, or?
Yeah, I got to follow up with Combs Construction. Combs Construction is they're doing all of it. They're our general works contractor. They've got a lot under their plate, meaning they got a lot of individual items. Well, their main items are architectural specialties, a lot of the lockers, toilet partition, toilet accessories, the pews. I mean, just a lot of oddball, we'll call it Division 10, Division 11, Division 12 items. He did send me a spreadsheet a couple weeks back with confirmation on deliveries for everything. There's a couple of unknowns in that spreadsheet, one of them being the evidence lockers. I'm following back up with him this week. He's going to follow back up with his people, his suppliers. But there is nothing right now that I'm aware of that's going to be late. I did get confirmation on Friday. I did have a concern. Gary and I talked about this at our Wednesday OAC meeting, our walk-in coolers and freezers. We did have a cost escalation of about $7,800 on the walk-in coolers and freezers. That is from a manufacturer named Cold Pack. They're under a parent company called Well Built. I'm waiting on a letter from the parent company. They've got a nationwide price increase. We did have another price increase approached to us by the electrician a while back. I know, Danny, I think you asked me, oh, it was several months ago, if we were aware of any. We were aware of a potential electrical material escalation cost increase then, but I didn't have any information, so I just I was waiting to hear get more information from them. I did find out from Greg Yos from Apple Electric on Friday. They are avoiding any cost increases that they're going to come after us about. So that did go away. I will get that in writing. But the walk-in coolers and freezers, they have a valid argument. They provided me backup on an initial purchase order that they wrote, a follow-up purchase order. This is not this job, it's all jobs. So I'm still evaluating a couple of those things, but it's a $7,800 increase. But their delivery is still set for January 25th. That does work for our schedule. So that's the only, I guess, I don't know if you call it bad news, but it is some recent news, some material escalation costs. I'm not aware of anything else.
Well, on a cooler, I mean, with that cooler size never changed or anything. I just wonder why the price wouldn't have changed.
It's what you see on the news. It's a supply chain stuff. I don't want to minimize it, but it's their letter to us or the email. I'm waiting on a letter on letterhead, shipping or trucking, material costs, just deliveries. And I was most concerned. I was like, we would not consider anything if you tell me these walk-in coolers, freezers are going to be showing up in April or May. We like, you take a hike. Since they did verify that they can get the stuff still in time to open this building, I'm going to weigh on that right now. So I will make a decision this week on that. But it's across the board, everything. I feel fortunate that this job hadn't been impacted anymore, or it really hadn't been impacted at all to this date, with everything you're hearing about on the news. So, but
Appreciate it.
yeah. Other than that, sorry I'm late.
Anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
Hey, thanks, Warren, for coming over.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Mark, come on.
Good morning, Galen Anderson with AMR, and also with me today is Captain Virgil Swanson. He's going to set up some of our equipment for a demonstration of our new cardiac compression device. And while he's setting up, I'm going to go over last month's report for our November data. So I'll hand that out and then I'll review it with you.
So did you listen to the meetings at Topeka?
I had trouble getting Is there anything else?
Yeah, the IC course is going to be dropped. Looks like certification is not going to be required after it goes through this process. So it's just going to be the organization's responsibility, which is pretty big.
Yeah, that is significant. I usually get,
You'll get something probably.
yeah. And
Your AMR guy was there, or maybe he was the one from Kansas City. I don't know if
from
director or
Topeka, maybe.
whatever he is.
Yeah, and we get good updates from KEMSA.
Yeah.
Because we're KEMSA members, so they keep us updated well with any changes like that. So I know, and also about, we're participating with KEMSA to help give pertinent testimony for the committee that's reviewing Medicaid reimbursement rates for transport with Kansas. So we're working with them to provide a letter from AMR's perspective, just to support that from the ambulance side. So for November, I'll just run down city by city, and we'll go over the 3 response areas, and unit hours, and then transports by helicopter. So for the month of November, out of Blue Mound, we had 1 call and 1 transport. Out of Centerville, we had 3 calls and 1 transport. Calls that fell under Fontana in the CAD system was 2 requests and 1 transport. Out of Lacine, there were 28 requests and 15 transports. Out of Linn Valley, there were 7 requests and 6 transports. Mountain City had 17 requests and 8 transports. The city of Parker had 4 requests and 2 transports. Pleasanton had 31 requests and 19 transports. Prescott had 5 requests and 4 transports. So for the month of November, we had a total of 98 requests for ambulance and 57 transports. Broken down by district, District 1 had 35 requests, 22 transports. Their average response time for that district was 10 minutes, 27 seconds. District 2 had 43 requests, 26 transports, and their average response time was 8 minutes, 5 seconds. And District 3 had 20 responses and 9 transports, and their average response time was 15 minutes, 30 seconds. And just to review briefly, for District 3, there's typically 2 responses for all those requests. One from Centerville, the supervisor vehicle, and so they have a much quicker response time. And then a second response from a transporting ambulance, either from Pleasanton or Lacine, who of course have a longer response time. And then those are combined and averaged. And so that's why it looks like the average response time is higher, and it is higher, but it's average. So you got to keep in mind that on a regular basis, we have a highly qualified paramedic supervisor there on scene at the patient side, starting patient care much quicker than that response time figure. All total, we had 98 requests, 57 transports, and our average response time for the whole county was 10 minutes, 27 seconds. We were scheduled for the month to have 1,440 unit hours in service, and we had 1,438, so we were staffed up 99.86% of our planned schedule. And then it was a busy month for patients flown out by helicopter. If you recall the previous month, I think we had 1 patient flown out by helicopter, which was quite low for how many requests for how many responses we have that meet criteria to launch a helicopter. For November, we flew 7 patients out by helicopter. 3 of those were significant cardiac issues. 1 was a suspected stroke. 1 was a significant respiratory patient. And then 2 were significant trauma patients that were flown out. Any questions on
Yeah,
that?
I do. Going back to the helicopter, I think it's important once a year to explain that to people.
Yeah.
When you determine that, when that paramedic or EMT determines that individual needs a helicopter flight versus taking them up in an ambulance, does the individual family member, if they're there, have a choice, or is it just no? Or
Yeah, they have a choice, absolutely.
And
Just
then,
like they have a choice with whether they want to be transported by ambulance at all. Oftentimes they refuse and decide to drive themselves to the hospital. Same with helicopter, and that does happen where they say, no, I don't want to be flown. I'd rather go by ambulance, then we cancel the helicopter.
and if the helicopter's coming they want to know right then, and they can know it here by watching, but that cost of a helicopter, sometimes that flight is it's billed as a very expensive flight, is it not? In the tens of thousands of dollars. And if the insurance doesn't pay for it, does the individual aircraft that you sent, does that company bill the individual for it?
So I'm not a good subject matter expert on helicopter billing.
Yeah.
I can speak more for ambulance billing.
But AMR does provide that service too now, right? Do they have a medevac?
Yeah, so it's part of the same parent company.
Right.
So we could definitely get more information.
Would you
on that
please?
for
Because
you.
I think it's important that a person knows, not that you got to make a decision on, well,
Right.
but it's the amount of money that they get hit with a bill in the mail. Here, Jim, here's your $86,000 bill that the insurance won't cover. Now, I know that the county has a program for you guys that will pay part of that, right? Or pay it all or whatever.
We have, but one of the things we're offering employees now is an optional coverage that does take care of ambulance and air ambulance bills over the regular insurance.
Right. And I'm sure that some do.
Certain companies, that isn't.
Now, this one is with anybody. Now, I think you guys have had, or I don't know if it's you, but there's a program out there for your,
Yeah, there for the helicopters that typically respond to Linn County, there's a membership program.
Yeah.
Where you pay a little over $100 a year, I believe it is, for your household. But generally speaking,
this is a different one that we're doing with employees.
That's anywhere in the US, I mean, as far as, okay.
I just remember sitting here the first few years, and you may remember that there was a couple of individuals that had gotten significant bills that their insurance didn't cover, and it was pretty large compared to what maybe an ambulance would.
Sure.
But you said that even though the ambulance is called and you show up, but you do not transport, that there's no bill to the person for that, right?
That's right. Yeah. Whether we respond, just the ambulance, and we evaluate the patient and they refuse transport by ambulance and want to and drive themselves, there's no bill for that. Likewise, if helicopter comes, lands, even talks to the patient, and for whatever reason the patient chooses to either drive themselves or go by ambulance, there's not a helicopter bill for that either. I know there's every helicopter service has their own billing practice, and there's not really set standards for what they can and cannot bill. I know ours, the ones that we work with that are under our same parent company, very much prefer to work with insurances and contract with insurances. So like I know in this area, they're contracted with Blue Cross, and their focus is very much to not have the patient be responsible for a large portion of the bill. And I know if there's, and I just, the very little exposure I've had to that side of things, the company works really hard to work with the patient, and to not have aggressive billing practices like we're going to take your house, we're going to take your car, anything like that. And so, but I'll work with figuring out the best way to get some more accurate information.
Okay, that'd be good. And
yeah.
I just think it's important that individuals know what they may be getting into. Not that no one wants to make that decision, but
Right. Right. And as far as the rationale for when we do order a helicopter, every once a year we meet and read and with all leadership for the ground ambulance, the leadership that we work with for the air ambulance, our comm center, and we review the criteria that we have for what specific criteria in each category meets early activation threshold. And so like for certain cardiac patients, like they have to meet a certain like bullet list of criteria for us to activate a helicopter for it. For certain trauma patients, so like if somebody falls off of has like a 6-foot fall, we wouldn't activate a helicopter for it. But if they fall off like a 3rd story, then we would activate a helicopter. So there's very specific criteria that we activate for. And then of course, when our ambulance crew gets there, they evaluate the patient, they make a decision right away if we want to keep the helicopter coming, if we want to cancel them. And by the way we have it set up, we make lots and lots and lots of helicopter cancellations.
So who pays for that? The
There's
patient?
no charge for
There's
that.
no charge for the activation?
No. We could launch helicopters 30 times a month and cancel them 25 times, and there's no charge for those 25 cancellations.
okay. So moving on to, I told you the instructor certification program is probably going to be done with. That's what the board voted up there, and those are instructors that's responsible for certifying ETs and EMTs and paramedics, their certification. That program probably is going to go away. Made no sense. And then there's 5,000 applicants that we have for the state of Kansas. Only a little over 800 have reapplied. So I don't know if that means there's a lot of people getting out of that business, and they've got till the end of this month.
A lot of it's just last minute.
Okay, I was going to say,
Yeah.
if they're a little worried up there. You got 5,000 people that need to certify,
Yeah.
register, and there's only 800 so far.
Yeah.
And you got this month.
Yeah, a big part of it is paramedics have to have 60 hours of continuing education. EMTs need to have, I think, 48 hours of continuing education. And I may be off on those numbers, and so a lot of times it's just EMTs and paramedics realizing, I need 4 more hours in this category or this category. So they're getting in their last minute training before they can apply, because you have to have your total hours to be able to submit your application. So a lot of it's just last minute, but
So what are you gonna show us now?
be concerning. Captain Virgil Swanson is an old hand at the Lucas compression device. But at this point, all our EMTs and paramedics have been trained on the device. And just for the public to know, this was a purchase that we've been planning to make for some years. It's about a $16,000 piece of equipment, and AMR is just essentially paying for it out of our own budget, out of our own pocket, because it's best for patient care. It's going to improve in certain situations. It's going to improve our ability to respond and care for patients in a more efficient way. So nothing out of county funds or anything like that. And I'll just hand it over to Virgil to give a little spiel on if you'd like to, and then to demonstrate
Gary, that showed
how
up
we'd
on
use
my
it.
phone this morning.
That did?
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, it's really simple to use. I'm gonna try to do it backwards so you guys can see the numbers, and whatnot. But again, it's really what this does is it frees up somebody's hands from having to do compressions for us. So especially from the supervisor viewpoint, if we're on the scene by ourselves, if we're doing chest compressions, we can't do really anything else. So this is really helpful for us. And the way it works is you have somebody that we're doing CPR on. As soon as we have some help on scene, we won't use our mouth to pick them up, but I will on this. We just slip that board underneath them. This deal, it's got 3 buttons. Again, I'm gonna try to do it toward where you guys can see it too. Make sure we get backwards and turn it on. It starts doing this thing. We snap it together. We'll set that plunger up where it goes. We hit one button, it sets itself. Just hit the other one. And it starts going and doing what it's supposed to do. Kind of hook them off this. We can, once we get the person all strapped away, it's got a little strap that goes over their shoulder and whatnot. We can pause it if we need to. We can adjust things. If these hold their arms up, we can actually just carry them on this. So while we're doing CPR, we can carry them up, put them on another cart or stretcher. Put this in the truck, go right where we need to go. And really what it does for us is we don't have to do CPR anymore. And so now we can start doing our medications, or we can start doing the breathing for them, or we can start doing something else that our hands can be used for, as opposed to being tied onto their chest.
How you determine the proper location with that thing?
It just slides up right up to basically to their elbow, to their armpits. And then this little suction cup just goes right on the center of the chest. Basically the middle of it is at their nipple line. And as long as it's not down into their stomach area, it's going to push on the center of that chest.
And it figures out the depth of the compression.
Yep. That's why the whole, if we had to do a little adjustment, say we had to move it, it has slipped a little bit, we can just adjust them down. We pull it down to that adjustment, then you see it kind of did itself there. We hit that button and now it just kind of did a little adjustment. I don't know if you see it, and it figured out what's 2.5 inches. And it starts going.
Is it like if they put it on too far down or too far up, does it not compress at all then?
No, it's not going to hit the chest side, so they'll notice that right away, and they'll be able to just hit that pause button and slide. So yeah. No, the machine itself doesn't see that on the body, and it's going to. The user has to do a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
And then does it spread out for bigger people?
It does not get.
So
I would say you're probably hitting about 300 pounds, right around in that area. It's more a height thing.
Yeah.
So as long as this device is about right there. So we got quite a ways, one of the other supervisors is a little bit bigger than I am, and he fit in here perfectly. And it was like, wow, that's a pretty good sized guy.
okay.
So, I would say you're probably in that 3 to 340 pound guy will fit on this, or gal, either way, I guess.
Is it just for adults?
It is pretty much for adults, yeah. And then the kid side will do, and that's more a depth thing, because obviously the sponge only goes so far. If they're a child would be so shallow into this, it wouldn't be able to do the actual plunging.
Any questions?
And we'll have this on the supervisor vehicle, so we respond to any event like that anywhere in the county. But even more so on the over out of Centerville, when we're the closest, we're by ourselves too, so
Right.
that's really super handy. So, and it's battery operated, so there's no electrical.
Make sure you got backup.
And we have an extra battery. And we charge them.
How often will I do compressions on one battery?
45 minutes on the one, continuous.
Okay, that's great.
We should meet all of our time criteria with the two batteries.
All right. Well, thanks for.
Good, thank you guys.
That's all we have for anymore.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good week.
Sean, do you have any executive sessions?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we're gonna do it. Did you have anything right now, Morgan?
Just executive session.
For what? Personnel. Okay, so let's do some executive session and then come back, and Sean, you get to go last as usual.
We're up to about 30 minutes.
And they're all personnel, right? Is that what you got to?
Yep.
Five, Doug for 5, 15 to 10. So 30 minutes, my motion is to go into executive session. One's with Doug for 5, one's with Melissa for 15, and then Morgan for 10. We're total of 30 minutes of executive session for personnel. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. The whole time? Are we back online? So there is a action from our executive session, so. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm asking for an increase on Vicky Brown to 14R on the salary schedule because of her public health experience.
I'll make a motion to increase the pay of, who is it, Vicky?
Vicky
For what's,
Brown,
to what?
14R.
14R.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Okay, that's all I need.
You all done?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is 26.204.
Sean?
Sean West, Public Works Administrator. Majority of what I have this week is going to just be updates. Our on-call engineer, Peppercorn, has the Botkin Roads, that's K31 west of Blue Mound. It's complete and will be ready for bids in the coming weeks. The Queens Road realignment, this is where it's shelving off in that area. They're ready to meet on site. They've done their on-site stuff and they're ready to meet on site and look at that project.
Who's that? Who's ready to meet?
Our on-call engineer, Peppercorn, I'm going to meet with them on site at Queens Road
Right.
about a realignment.
That's still, but is that far enough away from the wildlife reserve? It doesn't have anything to do with it?
Actually, the realignment, probably the most cost-effective, is going to be working with the wildlife
Right.
and pushing the road further away from the river.
Okay.
That'll probably be the next phase of this.
Have they been contacted?
I've been in contact with one of their employees about the land, but I'm going to have to get in contact with Peppercorn and their administration about the actual road project and start including them in the discussion.
Okay.
The transfer station leach water runoff and lagoon capacity topographical survey is complete. Now they're looking into the lagoon capacity and the Pleasanton traffic study. The on-site is done and the engineer's preparing the study for that as well. Cornerstone update is for Gutters Farm at Radcliffe Road. The survey is complete and the originals are in the mail on that one. And I need to deliver a copy. The 850 and Lane project is done. That's the line of sight clearing. Harry's crew had finished it up on Friday. Carpet is done at AMR in Pleasanton, and maintenance is also today out looking at water leaks. I believe we've got 3 leaks at the park. And Bobby's going to be coming to you today for a lot split agreement. Other than that, that's all I had was updates this week.
I've noticed a lot of gravel going on over, and I mean a lot over by my area, over by my house actually. Is there anything, are they preparing for winter or what's going on there?
I'm sorry?
A lot of gravel being put down on the roads and a lot. Is there a reason for that?
There's a project going on over towards the state line in that area. They're pulling some guardrail and also they're putting some gravel down, and the state's asked us to come through with a maintainer. They're going to tailgate it and they're going to spread it, or they're going to tailgate and then ask us to bring a maintainer through and finish completing spreading that gravel. But this project isn't ours, it's just in our area, and it's also something that we're working with them on.
I noticed kind of over by Rod Ernest's house, kind of up and down those hills, there's a lot of gravel, and it's really, I mean, it's really washboard hardcore because there's so much gravel, and it hasn't been, I think it's just been dumped out of the back of the dump truck.
I will look at that area. That maintainer in that area is unable to operate in that area, and we're having other maintainers cover for that maintainer due to an on-the-job injury. So the other maintainers are coming into that area to assist. So I'll have to go over and look at that and exactly.
I mean, you can start at my driveway. It's my road's really bad, but Rod Ernest is the next one over, which is 800 is
800.
But go to theirs first, not mine.
And what's the nearest
It'd
crossroad?
be like Waddles and 900 or 800. That area, I just noticed a lot of gravel in it. It's.
I'll check on it. I know we have several different, I think Andy's actually been most recently over
Record
there.
show, we've got too much gravel on the road.
I do know that they are bringing people in to cover in that area, and the maintaining is going to be a little slower because we're bringing
Maybe
at
that's why
different
they're
times,
slow
bringing
around.
different people in to assist in that area until we get that maintainer back up and going. And we also have another operator coming in and operating that maintainer, so.
Sean, I asked you after the engineer was sitting here and we signed off on his package to look into remember the bridges that's got the walls?
Yes.
Said you would do a separate study or whatever you was going to do. Have you done that yet?
He is working on the bridge inspections, but as far as a separate study on that,
Yeah.
once he gets the bridge
We
inspections.
didn't ask you for part of that. I asked you, you said it would have to be separate.
Correct.
So is that
Correct.
done yet?
No, it is not completed yet, but we will get a separate study on the guardrails themselves, the concrete, the damaged guardrails, and find out what our options are because of the requirements on the height and.
I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong, but in some places across the state lines, their bridges don't have any rails on it. So I don't know if it's legal or illegal. What's our ruling? I'd like to know what is right and what's wrong on that. On our side of the state, I don't care about them. I'm just saying I've been on their back roads and I've seen not just one of their bridges, but several of their bridges are there's no rails on a lot of them. So I don't know if that's state law or federal law.
That's something that I'm going to have to explore and then work with the engineers to find out what we need to do to correct it. But no, I haven't started that project yet.
Okay. So just keep it in mind because I'm going to keep reminding you. It's important to me.
I will keep after that project, but I haven't got it started yet.
I just think we have too many of those to just look around. I think it could be beneficial to the farmers and stuff if we could figure out a better way to do that.
It would be more cost effective than repairing them after they're damaged consistently.
Yeah, I'm just saying, getting equipment across, if we can do something better than what we've got. Some of those really narrow, 4-foot high concrete walls on each side.
And they typically are the ones that get damaged, and there are several very narrow bridges that I've seen.
Okay.
The only other thing is just housekeeping. On the back. All right, got it. For maybe a week, maybe two, that's my personal cell phone number. I've moved into a new residence and I don't have Wi-Fi and capability. It's just another contact for
Broadband's
me.
coming.
In about 4 weeks, it's coming, is what I'm being told. But if you have difficulty on my county cell, that's my other one, and text probably will work better if you need to get a hold of me.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobby Young, Planning and Zoning. All I have is a lot split agreement, grant of easement for a lot split that's being done. 3.32 acres is being split off from a 20-acre tract, leaving a parent tract of 16.73 acres that is to be sold to some of the parties here. So everything is in order. All we need is, because of the excessive, or not the excessive, but the additional easement required in that area, is just to bring it to the board and for your approval on that.
Okay, so just to be clear.
Yeah,
Bobby approves the lot split,
right.
but the lot split requires if the road right of way is less than 70 feet, that they grant additional right of way, and you have to accept that. So that's what you're doing.
Is it for building? I mean, why would we grant a 3.2 acre slot?
Well,
Can
the
they
reason,
put a septic on it?
yes, there's already a house located on this 3.32 acres. And the person that owns the full 20-acre lot is selling the other 16.73 acres. And I'm not sure if they're, selling to a relative or somebody else, but the lot split had to
The
occur.
road frontage is less than 70 feet.
Correct.
And so they have to, anytime we grant a lot split where the road right of way is less than 70 feet, they have to give us the additional. 3 acres is the minimum for
3
septic.
acres.
So if they got over 3 acres,
But is there laterals or pond have to be on their that 3 acres?
unless they have an easement otherwise, I assume that.
That would be correct, unless there was an easement.
Is
There's
there?
no indication that there's any easement, so I would assume that the laterals and everything is still located on that original 3.32 acres.
But you're the septic guy too, so why wouldn't you know that? Have you been out to check it?
No, I don't go out when we're dealing with lot splits on that.
But we're splitting off a 3.2 acre, and you've got a septic, and you're assuming that the laterals, and you may need an easement. Where am I going wrong on?
Well, no, it probably would make sense on our application, or at least during the application process, if we had them certify that their septic laterals are all on the tracks that they're splitting off.
Because that happened up in Lake Scene.
Because it has happened to us.
Okay.
where they
That
got one in
restaurant
there.
up there had a huge lawsuit.
So,
Remember?
so you could still tentatively accept the right of way, but I would say, Bobby, before you finish approving this, check with them and make sure that they can certify that the laterals are on their 3.2.
I can do that, and then I'll also make necessary changes in paperwork that would
So we won't
include
miss
some
Is
sort
that
of.
a policy, or is that, what is that? Under?
That's just a matter of
We don't have a policy on
Well, we
that.
need one.
that's just a matter of changing his application so it's on there, so
Okay.
it's required.
But we have it in the order, right? Of the 3 acres, you have to have a minimum of 3 acres.
Right. That is part of our
But don't
regulations.
say that our laterals are on the 3 acres, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to say.
Yeah.
Our regulations say you can have 3 acres and the laterals got to be on the 3 acres. But our lot split regulations do not specifically address that fact. And so he's going to make the change, so they do address it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want us to make it conditional approval?
I would, unless you want to wait to prove it next
Do
week.
you need it approved this week?
Yeah, they're pretty anxious to get this approved and get moving. They've been at it for quite a while.
So you're going to go out this week, and if
Yes,
it's
I will.
not, you're not going to let them have it, right?
I've already signed off on the lot split agreement. I've already granted the lot split, the purpose that it comes to you is because the road right of way, when we were checking everything, wasn't exactly what was needed. So an additional easement of right of way is needed. So we had the contract written up between the property owner and the county for that easement.
Tell me how we fix this.
I think we need to, first of all, we need to know if the laterals are on the 3.2 acres. And I would say and Bobby's going to check that, right?
I will check.
He'll check that. I just think we need to, if they are, we're fine. If they're not, then we need to decide next week.
We're not going to accept the
He's already approved it.
Well, he's approved it, but you haven't accepted the grant of easement yet.
Okay.
And that's required for it to actually go into effect. So I'd say it's going to be put on hold until you know that.
We're not gonna accept the grant of easement until we see that the laterals are on the
I think that would be
5 acres.
either that or accept a contingent on them being on there, one or the other.
Prepare that motion for us.
To accept the grant of road right of way contingent upon Bobby's finding that the laterals are all on the 3.2 acres.
Are you okay with that, Danny? Are you okay with it? That's my motion.
I'll second.
Moved and second, all in favor? Aye. And let's work on getting those changes made in our orders.
We'll work on it.
There's always something in it, Bobby. Sure.
Well, then we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
It may be that, let's don't speculate. But
Just don't,
I could think of one or two or possibly even three possible solutions. One is they could grant themselves an easement for the laterals before they split off the tract. A second is they could do a boundary line adjustment to take in the lateral area. The third probably would be to do a resurvey and make their lot split different dimensions. So I think there's at least three possibilities there.
and I can think of a couple occasions that we haven't done it, but the whole object is that when they sell it, that the individual that owns the property now doesn't have to ever deal with those laterals. Somebody comes and wants to cut the fence, or because there's no gate on that side to work on the laterals, because he's got to get a track hoe or something, backhoe or something in there, that nobody's offended because you're on somebody else's property. So just need to get that fixed.
I think
That's the whole
I think it was just a minor oversight in the regulations when they were figuring all that up.
That's right.
Yeah. No, not your fault. It's just
All right.
we didn't get it.
all
Got to
I
get
had.
it fixed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jessica, you want to talk?
Jessica Hightower, Economic Development. I've got a couple things to talk about right now, and then I've got somebody coming in at 11. The first thing I have is Brianna Laver has resigned from my Economic Development Committee. She moved out of the county, so she's no longer able to hold that seat. She was in Danny's district. So I worked with Danny, and we came up with Elaine Jager. She works at Farmers State Bank in Pleasanton, and I've spoken with her. She's excited about coming onto the committee if you guys would appoint her.
Jessica asked that if you wanted the
I would, yes. Brianna was a banker, so I wanted to have another banker on my committee.
so
Make the motion.
I'd make a motion that we fulfill that spot in my district that Brianna Laver left, and with Lane Jagger.
I'll second.
Moved second, all in favor? Aye.
Okay. I got Jim and Rick signed up for the economic development training, along with the rest of my committee. I'm going to sign Elaine up today, but those start, the first one is Thursday, I think. So you should be getting an email about that if you haven't already. And if you can't make it live, you'll be able to, they'll post it later.
What time Thursday, do you know?
I think 9:00, but I'm not sure.
And they're going to send us an email?
Yes, they should be. Yep. With
Live here or?
well,
Do
you'll do it
Zoom?
Zoom. It'll be on Zoom. Yeah. So no, you don't need to come here. You can if you can't do it at home, or if you don't have that capability, you can come here, but you don't need to. And then the other thing I have, I'm really excited about. I have not taken the Heartland Economic Development course. When I first got on, I took one down in Texas that was good, but it wasn't geared toward, Kansas. So I've enrolled in that, and I've gotten a scholarship for the whole amount of the course from Evergy, and I'll go do that in April.
How long is it?
It's a week in Bonner Springs,
Okay.
so not far. but they're going to cover, it's almost $1,000 registration. They're going to cover all of that. So,
What do you do? I mean, what's it teach you?
resources and guidelines that, the state has and the Fed has for things like, bringing in businesses and what kind of incentives we can offer and it just stuff like that.
Good course.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I've heard of it.
So, yeah.
Anything else?
At 11, I have Brenda Muncie coming in from Linn Valley. She's a council person. She's interested on being on the comprehensive plan update committee. They'd come to all the cities had come to the meeting over at Bunker Hill a couple weeks ago, and she's the one that is interested in being on the committee. So she wants to come and talk to you guys, kind of tell you why she wants to be on the committee and see if you'll go ahead and appoint her. But she'll be here at 11.
Okay.
Okay? That's all I have. Do you guys have anything for me?
It was brought to my attention on the wind farm moratorium.
Yeah, did you prepare that?
Yeah, I've got it here. I wanted to go over some aspects of it in legal session first.
Okay. Is that it?
That's what I have.
The ARPA funds too, as far as breaking it down into different areas, as far as contracts to where we got different, Danny brought up the lakes and, then we got the Blue Mountain deal. How are we going to do that? Are we going to throw that out as different contracts, as far as?
Have you worked on anything?
We can bring Taylor back and answer questions.
Yeah, we probably need to see her.
I sent Chris the information about the broadband survey that you guys we were kind of interested in. I haven't heard back from Chris yet on whether that was a good thing to look at or not.
Is there anything about lakes on that one?
Not lakes specifically.
You're talking about the broadband, right?
Yeah.
The survey.
Yeah.
Not the survey to the people, but I'm thinking
No, I mean
about the
having a
RFP.
survey done, having a
Sorry.
company come in and do a survey of our, like a topographical survey to see what kind of internet we would need to get broadband to
What
people.
lakes are covered already for the broadband?
No, I don't think, I don't, specifically, but I think our concern is.
There's a map online about where our broadband coverage is. Pam was able to put one together.
So I think the concern too is when we put RFPs out for
Mm-hmm.
these companies is, do we include them or not include them? And should we do multiple ones? Trying to figure that out, So we know we want to go that way to Parker, and we've got already some talk with the two companies that's talked about those. But to throw a big wrench in it and say, now we need you to look at Tanglewood, some of the others. Sugar Valley, Hidden Valley, what's the one on Chaparral? Something like that. It might be way too much,
I would almost think we would do separate RFPs because
Yes.
maybe a company wouldn't be interested in doing Tanglewood, but they'd want to do that side of
Right.
the county.
You could have 2 or 3.
But I don't
Yeah.
know.
And split the money up
Yeah.
in different.
Yeah.
kinds.
So when are we going to be ready for an RFP, you think?
I don't know. I think we need to decide what we're going to do first. And I think we need to decide whether we're going to do that survey or not. I need to hear back from Chris. I need to follow up with him, but I can get Taylor, to come and she can answer questions about that I can't answer. We can get her back.
Should we get a hold of Peoples and QuickCom and let them know kind of what we're thinking so they can kind of prepare something?
Oh yeah. When we're ready to accept RFPs or applications or whichever direction we have to go with that, I will send that all out to them.
There'll be an announcement go out to them saying, hey, we're accepting RFPs for this and this and this and this.
Yeah. And I've got email addresses, contact information for all the companies that have contacted us so far, to send that to.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And that'll all be off of the cable broadband, and it's not off any towers or anything like that.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
Somebody tried to tell me that it's got to be.
Yeah, I heard it had to be fiber optic lines.
That's what I heard.
Okay. I don't,
So,
Taylor could answer that question.
yeah, so
I don't
maybe
know.
you could get a clarification from her, at least prior to that.
I'll see if I can get her here.
Okay.
yeah.
So 11 o'clock, you have somebody?
I do. Mm-hmm.
You got anything right now? We do right here, because
I've got several things,
what do you want to go into legal for the windmill thing?
for several things. I mean, I've got about probably a good 30 minutes worth of legal.
You told me you didn't have any earlier.
No, I did that today.
Brenda's she's leaving work to come. So if we can just keep that in mind.
All right. So, can you do it in 20 minutes and we'll go back if we need to?
We'll just call it 20.
Is it legal?
Yep.
I'll make a motion. We go in legal executive session for legal for 20 minutes with Gary coming back out at 11:01.
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor? Aye. So we do have action from our executive session. Our first one being on the windmills, and we have on the moratorium was expiring, so we want to extend that. So Gary's got a proposal for us.
Yeah, the resolution, I guess David actually has the resolution that I wrote for it. Do we have a resolution number?
21-33.
And what the resolution simply says that, it says it more complicated than that. It says that because we haven't got done with our comprehensive plan and our revision of regulations yet, we need to continue the moratorium until we do. And it is set up to continue until you act to end it. And so if we get through with the comprehensive plan and the regs in 6 months, you can end it then, or if it takes 12 months or whatever.
Okay.
It's indefinite until you act further.
So I'm going to make a motion that we continue on with the moratorium indefinitely for our county on the windmill project.
Resolution number 2021-33.
That's the one. Got a second?
Second.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
On resolutions, I have one for today also on canceling outstanding warrants that are 2 years old, so we'll just catch that one while we're doing these. It's just things that didn't get cashed for 3-year periods.
And these are amounts of money for what? For people?
It's checks that we sent out.
Okay.
that never got cashed, so-
Okay. These are checks that the county has written and nobody wanted them from different people. And we've either reissued them or canceled them completely. So that resolution, you'll get a copy of it, is 2021-32. And that's my motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Did you want to act on this FF&E now, or?
Danny?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Okay, the FF&E are the furnishings, furniture and equipment, for the new jail project. We pulled that out of the original contract because we felt like we could do it cheaper, ordering it directly. It looks like, by ordering it directly, we're going to save around $61,000 over the, original project estimate. And so, I've given it to the commissioners to review. They've looked at it, and what I need is an authorization to tell the architect in this case to go ahead and make the order. So
Okay.
the total of the order is $453,485.87.
Okay.
You write one off again.
453,485.87. That's the furniture, fixtures, and equipment.
waiting for a motion. I'll make a motion that we continue on and we accept that. What was the price? I'm looking for something.
Read it, David.
$453,485.87.
That's the FF&E.
At the FF&E, and we need an authorization to make the order.
That's my motion.
I'll second it for that. All in favor? Aye. No. What else we got? Do we have anything else from your?
I have some more legal, but I think you had something you're going to do here first.
Yeah. Yes.
We have Brenda Muncy here from Linn Valley. She's a council person there, and she wants to talk about possibly coming on to the comprehensive plan committee.
Hello.
Hi, guys. I'm kind of sad I've missed these meetings so far, but you know, as working girls, we don't come during the day. I would like to join you on your development committee. I think there's a lot of good things going on, and for all the same reasons that I wanted to be involved in the Linn Valley City Council, we are all growing so largely. It's a great project. I would like for you to consider letting me be a part of that.
And where do you live? What
Linn
area?
Valley.
Linn Valley.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm a council person for Lynn Valley. Really, we just want to sneak in there and spy on you. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fine. We like that.
No, no, I think it's a great committee and it would go along with a lot of the things. Lynn Valley, as you know, is growing out of control. And the county itself is growing. And so it would be awesome to be part of that.
Okay.
What boards do we have openings on, Jessica, as far as with it?
We don't really have any openings at this point, but all the meetings we've talked about it, we offer that if people want to be on, contact us, so that's what we're doing.
I think I've seen you at the Pleasanton meeting.
Yes, I do. Yes, I remember that. I was there.
Kind of kept up with everything a little bit.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I was there at the Pleasanton meeting. And
I have no issue for it. I'm all in favor of it.
I don't either.
Would you make a motion to appoint her then?
I guess she would be under my committee then, or one of my appointees. It's nice meeting you.
nice to meet you, Rick.
State your name again.
Brenda Muncy, M-U-N-C-Y.
Okay, I make a motion that we appoint Brenda Muncy to the comprehensive plan for Lynn Valley's area.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Will you get a hold of me, with one of you with, perfect.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys. Back to
Welcome.
work.
Thank you. You want to go back into hiding?
I need some more legal time to cover a couple other things here.
How much time?
I think we can do it in 15 minutes.
You got anything you need? Anybody else?
Well, probably one of them we ought to talk about while we're in there.
I've included it in my,
You got a couple that I talked to you about.
I've got at least one you talked to me about.
So how much time?
Make it
15?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. I'll make a motion. We go into executive session for 20 minutes for legal.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Oh. I don't think.
I may have something for him. I hope we're gonna be able to.
There's no more executive sessions today. There is action from our executive session, so
Okay, we have a change order number 11. It's a change order for several relatively small items, adding a 220 circuit in the equipment room, adding the 2 roof hydrants on the roof of the jail for maintenance purposes, changing the low voltage power supply for the water management system on the back of the cells, going to a 2-piece roof flashing where you transition from the wall to a shed roof off the wall, and to do some relocation of the controls behind the cells down to eye level so they're easier to get to. The total of the change order is $17,508.84 for all of those items. They'll come out of contingency, which would leave a balance in the contingency after this change order of $211,303.88.
and I think Jim's got a comment, right?
About the design issue.
Yeah.
I believe all this is a design issue, every bit of it. Should have been taken care of.
So
They should have been anticipated by the designer, and
especially the sales, that project with the low voltage that should have been recognized right away.
First jail.
Yeah, for someone who's built 300 jails, I don't know how you could leave the low voltage out.
well, I'm not defending him. They had a low voltage setup, but it was a individual transformer for each unit, and so.
So this is a direct one. So, was there a change order number on that?
It's change order number 11, and again, it's for $17,508.84.
And there was some potential other change order. It had like 4 things on it. We all said no to in our meeting.
We haven't made any decisions.
Haven't made any formal decisions on it, but doesn't look like any of us are willing to budge on that. So with this one, I'm going to make a motion that we approve change order 11, and the amount is,
17,000
where's that
up
at?
towards the top.
$17,508.84. Let me repeat it. $17,508.84. That's my motion. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye, and no.
And majority of these items in this change order have already been talked about prior to the
Right.
from today, and it's already been done.
Discussed before. Most of them.
All right. Is that all you had?
Well, I do have the next pay application. I don't know if you were prepared to act.
Are you
on
wanting
that.
to talk to Warren next week, or you need that right now? What was the deal?
We probably need to get the check ready for next week, but won't release it until you've approved it.
So that's up to you. You can do it now or you can do it next week.
I'd like to wait. So
I'd like to wait, maybe just kind of yeah.
Okay. So we'll wait till next week on that. You can prepare it in case it happens.
I got a letter from the Lake Region Solid Waste Authority. They actually addressed this to Miami County Commissioners and sent it to us, but it should have gone to every county that's in their region. They have their 2022 budget that was approved by their board of directors. They're proposing keep the county dues at the same level as last year, which is $4,600 for each county that's in it, for a total of $27,600. But they're wanting each commission to approve their budget for next year. And I'm not really sure why it comes through at this time of year, because it's obviously well past when we've approved budgets. But this is not a specific budget for us. It's just a payment out of solid waste, and we've already figured it in our budget anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Anything out of the ordinary on that?
No, I don't think so.
We've already approved it in the budget.
Yeah, our budget already has this included in it.
So what kind of motion do we need on it?
Just to approve the Lake Region Solid Waste Authority 2022 budget.
That's my motion.
I'll second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't think I have.
Does it need signed?
No, it just shows county name, title, and date, so I can just fill that in.
Okay.
I think we took care of other information I needed with Gary's advice, so nothing that took any action out here.
And our county dinner is Wednesday at noon.
Wednesday noon over at Christian
If
Church.
you haven't paid those, Morgan or whoever, please pay, your money. Okay. Everybody's been invited that's supposed to be invited.
We sent it out to all departments, employees, and
You got anything else? You got anything, Danny?
I don't have any.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Which church is it at?
Christian Church, one about a
Corner.
block and a half over that way, a few blocks. We were there year before last, I think.
Yeah, we did it for several years there.
We were out.
We did, yeah. Good place. Yeah. Then we did what, out there last time?
They had more discreet space.